And and we are live. This
Yay.
is the second weekend collaboration, pair programming,
AKA Weekend Rebels.
Yeah, Weekend Rebels. We can get around to changing the name. I think it's more appropriate for this group. Yeah, I'm Matt. I'm here with Rose and Ryder and Peter and Faith, and maybe some others will join us later. And we were just introducing ourselves, and we're about to start talking about what we're going to do today.
Mm-hmm. Yay.
So last week, for Ryder and Peter, you guys weren't able to be there last week, probably because we didn't ask you what times were good for you. But we rectified that, hopefully. And
There's
yeah,
that.
Rose, what do you remember what we did last week?
I think we looked a little bit at was it the beginning, the MOOC homework? Were we doing that? I've been in so many meetings this week, I forget kind of which one I did what in.
Yeah, true. Do you remember, Faith?
We did week 0 of this.
Oh, the Code Academy, didn't we?
Yeah. Cool. And Faith,
that's right.
Did you have a chance to have a look at that during the week?
Yes, I did. I didn't do much, but I did. I'm done with the sections I was supposed to look at.
Ah, cool.
I'm still in week 1.
Okay.
Week 1. Yeah.
And I remember, Peter, you had mentioned something about being in week 2, maybe?
Yeah, so basically I started week 2, but I was, since we started to talk about maybe we will have this weekend collaboration and pair programming, I kept basically the homework assignment open, maybe to do it, or we can decide it basically what if you're gonna do it or not.
Session. for week 1 or week 2, sorry?
Week 1.
Oh, cool. Awesome. And what about you, Ryder? Have you already taken this course, or I know you're working?
Is this the one that we're doing the curriculum stuff on?
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, yeah, it is the MOOC. Ryder's pretty advanced.
Yeah, exactly.
I never took it. I'd love to take it. It's so hard to find time for stuff.
Right.
Which is why we're here on the weekend.
I'm just really happy, to get the chance to collaborate with y'all.
Nice. Awesome.
Ryder's a lot of fun to collaborate with because Ryder is, of the different people I've paired with, he is the most what I would call purist as far as the proper way to do things. And I think he lends a very important perspective to our work, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems to be more common. Now, Matt, you're interesting because it's not like you're a purist or you're not a purist, but you're an experimenter, okay? Mm-hmm. And I love that, okay? So, I mean, we have an experimenter in Matt. We have a purist in Ryder.
So we
and
either
a lot of
kill
times,
each other or bring balance to the force.
Yeah,
exactly. Because, well, I don't know. I guess they've done some studies about the people who are attracted to programming. And they find that personality-wise, we tend to have a lot of things in common. But the one thing that we don't have in common, and that's all over the map, is whether we are abstract or concrete thinkers. Have you heard that before?
No, that's really interesting.
Yeah, and it seems like if someone is really abstract, all right, then they're very much in tune with the theory and looking for best practices, and like you tend to be more of a purist, okay? Yeah. And that's good in some ways. It's bad in others. It's bad in the sense that people who have that bend tend to procrastinate because they don't want to finish it until it's perfect, right?
I really don't want to start it because it's not going to be perfect.
So then on the other hand, you have the concrete people who just want to go in and like get it done, and they don't care really whether it's the best form or not. They just want to get it working, and they want to go in there and try it. And the interesting thing about this, and of course, you know, you see that a lot of people who are more abstract end up going into academia and typically get their doctorates and this and that. And people who are more concrete thinkers not only tend to work more in industry, but they tend eventually to go into things like management. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the thing is, this is I don't know, what do we call this? A discipline that needs all of these things. You know what I'm saying? Because on the one hand, you have to make progress. On the other hand, there's no point making progress if it isn't good progress, right progress, you know, ethical progress, efficient progress.
But it also needs them all talking to each other, which is why we're all here.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And of course, one of the things that computer scientists are notorious for is not talking to each other. So I just love that we've got a number of different viewpoints here, and I don't know how you feel about it. I know how when I was in Link,
I'm super stoked.
When I was at Link, the first few years, it took me a while to get attuned to the culture, which was pretty rugged. You know, I mean, people just, it was like they gave you their opinion about things, and they didn't mince any words. And
I would love to work somewhere like that.
Yeah, well, yeah. You also had the chair throwing and the you know throwing something into a monitor. I mean, it did get heated at times. I don't think we're going to do that. I don't think we. But I mean, it was really crazy, you know. But the nice thing about it was, you knew you could, you know, say what was on your mind, and it would be discussed or shouted about, and we'd eventually come to an agreement. Yeah. And we wouldn't draw it out too long either. I mean, we'd come to an agreement quickly and then get on with it. But you know, I just like you know, total honesty here. I think sometimes I come across as maybe being a little harsh or abrasive or aggressive, and you know, that's my background, so that's where that's from. I don't come by it naturally, but one thing I have done over the years is when I first started my career, one of the things they did is they gave everyone personality tests, and I was one of the people. I was like 98 percentile in abstract thinking.
Wow.
All right. And I started realizing, because I fell in that category, I started realizing some of my shortcomings, you know, and like why I like was slow in doing things, because, you know, I wanted to make it perfect, et cetera, et cetera. And that knowledge really helped me. So I've tried over the years to come more towards the center.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, if we're going to meet every weekend, I just thought it would be a good thing to make everyone aware of. And hopefully if someone feels like their toes are getting stepped on or something, you know, you'll say something, you know, because we're all here, a friendly group trying to improve, and everyone's going to have different viewpoints, and that's good.
Yeah. No, I think that's important to mention. I know, Faith, I think you were a little uncomfortable a couple weeks back. I was probably being really, really opinionated, like I sometimes get, and maybe raised my voice and stuff. And I don't mean anything negative by it, but surely not everybody's used to that. So if there's something in the group dynamic, this is for anybody that's not working for you, please just say something. Yeah.
Yeah. So as long as people understand that, if we start getting a little loud or whatever, it's mostly because of our passion about it. It's not because, you know, we're trying to put someone down or whatever.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I know it's kind of a little bit maybe silly, but one of the reasons I like Jitsi is because they actually have this thing on the left where you can raise your hand, you know, if you.
Oh, that's good.
If you feel like saying something. And I was saying to a couple of people, I think I said to you, Rose, I like this because I think that it's really easy for us to get into someone would like to speak. Who nickname Faith? Did you have a question? I think it's easy to get into the, the type of habit.
That's nice.
The people who are loudest talk the most, or the people who have the most to say talk the most. And I think that I don't want to, the reason I put an hour and a half, and the reason I said there, some of the things I said about like having more time slots for different levels and having for different ideas and stuff like that, is because I think that we don't need to, and as far as my opinion, I don't think we need to rush anything. I think if it takes a little bit longer for us to do something, but we do it in a way that's more inclusive, I think that should be of higher priority,
Yeah.
So,
and if you feel differently, we can make more of these that are geared towards different experiences.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. Like to be honest, like on Saturdays and Sunday, every Saturday and Sunday, I'm kind of programming for a good portion of the day. So I'm always keen to have like other pairing sessions where we maybe don't introduce ourselves as much and we just jump right into it.
Where were you the last 2 years of my life?
Yeah,
exactly.
I didn't know I wanted to actually develop software 2 years ago.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
But
I was so lonely. Nobody at work pairs. Nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a new experience for a lot of people, actually.
Yeah.
Like Peter, do you have experience with pair programming?
Not really. So I'm really looking forward to this, how it works. But it seems fun, guys. So yeah.
Awesome. Faith, did you want to say something before us?
I don't
Or did
know.
you forget to put your hand down?
Forgot it. Oh, but maybe to just say we also pair a lot. To a point, but I was a parasite as a result of pairing a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the future, the idea is to have the Paranauts as well that we can utilize.
What's that? Paranauts.
It's one of Agile Ventures projects that we're working on. We did some Elm pairing on it, and also I think Elixir Phoenix stuff. Yeah, we have an Elixir Phoenix mob that works with the Paranauts as well, where we so far are just writing tests. But yeah, there's an actual website. I can share my screen real quick since I was wondering when we were the first person to do that. And yeah, just at paranauts.org. And then can everyone see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Rose, are you still waiting to say something?
Well, yeah, actually, I was wondering, can anybody see that when I press that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. And then the other thing, yeah,
go ahead.
The other thing I was trying to say is, I sometimes, like, I think someone's finished talking and I try to say something, and I find that I'm jumping on someone else saying something, and a lot of times I think there's a lag, and so I think I'm talking in between, like after someone's done, but there's a lag, and so what ends up happening is I stomp on the beginning of someone else talking. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Am I making any sense?
Yeah. Yeah, that just happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it sounds like I'm trying to interrupt, but I'm not. I thought I had free space.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Is there anyone else that wanted to start off sharing their screen and we can have a look at the MOOC and see what we're gonna do?
Is that what we're probably going to work on? Is MOOC stuff?
I think so.
Okay. So would this be would this be like assignment 1?
Yeah, that's an idea. I was gonna see if how Faith felt about that, because I don't know if in my opinion, having done the first homework assignment, you don't need to watch all of the videos in week 1 to do the homework. But I don't know, Rose, do you agree with that, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, the first homework doesn't really have to do with the first set of videos. It has to do with the videos from week 3. But I think you can work on the homework, the first homework, concurrently with looking at the videos and reading the material in chapter 3, as well as do one first and the other in either order, really.
Does anyone? I don't have the book. Does everyone else have the book?
I do.
I
do.
Yeah.
Faith, did you say which book?
Yeah, what book?
I can try to find it for you.
It's
SaaS book,
software
right?
as a service. Yeah, it's software as a service.
I can send you the link. There also might be something with Agile Ventures where you can.
The book is available for $9.99 on Amazon electronically.
Yeah, and you also get like $10 coupon for something as well. So they're kind of like
AWS.
Something like that. Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. I haven't got around to doing that, but yeah, I actually do have one of the beta versions of the book, I guess. But yeah.
Anyway. I have the most recent, so I can always put it up on my screen so people could see.
Oh, nice.
Although you might, what someone needs to do is bring up the MOOC itself, or one of the instances of it, and we could sort of see like what videos are there, what homeworks are there.
I can share my screen if you guys want, but also if someone else wants to share their screen,
I'm sensing a real desire, to offer point to someone else. I'm happy to look at it. Where is it again? It's in the Slack or the link, or? Yeah,
I can send also as well. I guess I would have a different. I don't know if my link is different than Rose's as well, because you have the one from Bingham, correct, Rose?
The Edge, the edX instance.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine is. I mean, it's basically the same, but I've put my own material in there as well.
I wonder if I send this to you, Ryder, if you can actually, because I'm like doing an archive view of the.
Oh yeah.
But if not,
yeah. I've popped open the two things that I can pop open. Whoa, what is this? Stop live. So many options. Where's just the share screen button?
It's mine is on the top, on the bottom left, next to the raise your hand button.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And if you'd like to speak, just please raise your hand, Ryder.
Definitely. This is weird. Yeah, so I'm not able. Oh, that's odd. Okay.
Sorry. Yeah,
no,
I think
I'm able to now. Because I have two Jitsi screen sharing extensions, as you can see. One of them is for the vanilla Jitsi, which is what we're in, and one of them is for the Agile Ventures Jitsi. And I wasn't sure if they would play nice with each other, but they did eventually.
Yeah, maybe at some point you could tell us how that's going, because you're working with Sam and like creating an Agile Ventures Jitsi for.
Yeah. So the newest information on that is in the Paranauts channel, but basically it sounds like they're having some really weird problem where if a third person joins that Jitsi that we're hosting, everything stops working until that third person leaves. So like you can't do a Jitsi that, I mean, it is Paranauts, so I guess it's potentially okay for a lot of use cases, but we don't really want to have it left to where we can't mob, because if more than two people join, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Cool. And
it's not supposed to work that way.
Yeah, it's not.
If you need any help on let me know. And
we don't know what it is. Would love help.
Let's go.
Let's see. Yes. Rose, raise your hand.
Yeah. Do you remember last week we had trouble with things freezing and having problems until like I went to Avatar instead of full video, and we seem to get better. Things are working better.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Today it seems okay, but yeah, that's something I mentioned to Peter, that if we start having if you start seeing that people are having connectivity issues, maybe we can turn off our, or just in general, when we can turn off our videos at certain points. You know?
Yeah. Well, I wonder if that might be some of the issues that the Paranauts are having. It might just be at a particular time, or, you know, certain connections overstress it, because Jitsi isn't supposed to work that way.
Yeah, it definitely could be, huh?
Yeah, I'm just throwing, you know, ideas out there.
So where's? Oh, I thought I was looking at Rider String, but apparently I wasn't. Oh, okay.
Did anyone want to have a look at the cover of the book?
Oh, that's weird. So I know Faith and I had the same problem this morning with Code Wars, which is why it's probably funny. You were saying if we looked at the cover of the book.
No, I just wondered if anyone was interested, because a couple of people didn't seem to know what book we were referring to. Do you see it on my screen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can see it. I can see it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's all I'm asking. So, and if you want to refer to any of the chapters, just let me know.
Okay.
Oh, awesome.
Looks great. So I am blocked, not like blocked, but as in like it might take a few minutes of finagling for me to get this rolling. So if somebody has their account up and ready to go, I'm all for doing that.
Yeah, I do. Peter, do you have yours up, or Faith?
What's the course? The link you shared?
The 169, yeah. Agile development using Ruby on Rails, the basics. Rose, do you teach the advanced course as well?
I teach the whole shebang.
Oh, nice.
In fact, we just roll it into one course.
Okay, yeah. I started rewatching the videos today, and I don't know. I didn't find the questions that they asked at the end of most of the videos. I didn't find them as easy as I would have liked to believe that.
They're tricky.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
Peter's got something.
Yeah. So yeah, I try to keep the rules. So. So how I felt actually is I actually really liked that then at the end of the video, like at the challenge, they are not really giving you the answer directly, but you had to think and you maybe dig deeper into the problems a little bit and look after it on Wikipedia, for instance, in some cases even. So I really liked it, but I get why it could be a little bit like misleading, because no one ever talked about this problem during the course, or not in the videos or wherever, you know. So yeah, I don't know. It's true.
It's nice not to be spoon-fed everything.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true. It shouldn't be too easy. Go ahead, Rose. Rose is raising her hand and raising and putting down, raising and putting up.
Oh yeah. So what is it? When I click it, it's up, but when I let it go, it goes away. I'm totally, now I realize this. Okay, I wasn't understanding that. Yeah. So the questions they ask, it's like you need to understand the information fully, because nowhere in that material, whether in the book or in the video, will they have gone over that particular set of things. But if you really understand it, you will know the answer. And what I found is the first time I went through everything, it was like either I completely missed the point, or, you know, sometimes I got a piece of it, but it was tricky. And then after I've gone through it and I go back to it, then it's sort of like they ask the question, I'm like, oh, I know what they're getting at. Oh, I understand that. But, you know, until you read it and listen to the videos and do it, there's probably a lot of things that I know it went completely over my head until I got like a little more experience. Yep. So I wouldn't worry about it. Cool. Because you'll get it.
Nice. Faith, you were sharing your screen with us?
Yes.
Where did you get to this week, if you don't mind?
This is where I am next. I just finished with -1.
Ah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm in exit.
Did you? What do you think about? I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that if we went to the homework for week 1, that would be kind of okay for Faith, who hasn't actually started the week, or do you think we should maybe have a play with Ruby like we were doing on Code Academy?
I'll defer to everyone else.
Well,
I also defer.
I think you, Rose. I think you have the most experience with this class. So
Yeah, I know, but I guess what I'm saying is, I mean, I think we could, right?
Okay.
But I don't want to do anything that either people, are uncomfortable with or don't really want to do. So I mean, I feel like I'm here. I can be supportive to whatever anyone wants to do.
Oh, cool. What do you think about that, Faith?
I want to do everything.
Sorry?
I want to do everything. I have no preference.
I mean, I think that we could try to tackle homework 1 then, because then we could do some coding. And then if we have questions, we have people here who have worked with Ruby quite a bit. So I think if we have questions, and that's like kind of, I guess the idea is like that I put there as well, is like we're not gonna, I don't know, I didn't see it as we're gonna sit here and watch videos together, because
there's no point in that.
Yeah.
Now, if
unless
we all agree,
you're dating the person and it's long distance and you're like watching a computer science or like a Netflix thing together.
Then in that case, sure, absolutely, that's not weird at all.
We need to have tests for the edge cases as well.
yeah. Or we all agree that we're going to watch certain videos and meet and discuss them.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yes.
That would be good as well. I took notes on some of the stuff I wrote but I don't know about any questions I had. No. The only thing is will Faith be able to skip like the videos without answering the questions?
I am trying. I don't even know where I am.
You're in 1.1, it looks like.
I need to be there.
If you click on the course tab and just try to skip straight to the homework for the Ruby intro, does it let you? Because if not, I can do it, or Peter can, since we've already gotten to that point.
Intro. What is that?
It's in week 1, plan and document versus Agile and Ruby intro. Right there. Yeah. And then there's a quiz as well. The quiz I think would be difficult if you haven't watched the videos. Maybe.
Yeah. The quiz, you want to either read the material, watch the video. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the homework 1, if you go back and just go down 1. Plan and there's 2 week ones. Actually, there's 2 of all of them, aren't there?
Homework 1.
Yeah. There we go. 18-minute video. That doesn't seem like what we're looking for.
Yeah. I have another suggestion. I don't know if this is anything that anyone's interested in it or not, but I do this little sort of fake TDD demo for my students in the first week, where we develop a very simple Ruby method, but I show them the kinds of things that I want them to ask questions about and the way to set up tests. This isn't even using RSpec for tests. This is just like test it yourself using Ruby statements.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds great.
If anyone is interested in that, I could do it with you. And as I said, you know, you might find it interesting, and I'd be tickled to know if Ryder has any suggestions for my improving this.
Yeah, that sounds great to me. Ryder maybe is stalled. Yeah, it says his connection was lost.
What?
Oh no!
Oh, yeah. Oh, Ryder,
You're there. You're there. Yeah.
You're frozen for
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Oh. Well, cool.
Oh, that happens.
The
Yeah.
cold never bothered me anyway.
There you go.
What?
Ryder would like to speak.
Oh, right, because of the hand. Well, so what is it you're wanting feedback on, this fake TDD thing?
No, I'm just saying that if we have new programmers here,
Yes.
This has been a little exercise that I do with my new Ruby students.
Yes.
And basically, we're going to write a little method that computes the lines of communication between people, given the number of people.
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
No.
No.
Okay. So let me share it.
Did someone? I think maybe someone joined us.
Yes.
There's a fellow Jitzer here. I don't know if you, fellow Jitzer, if you would like to introduce yourself or not. You don't have to, but if you would like to,
The floor is yours.
no, maybe not.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I don't see. That's
Because
odd. I don't.
Bill.
Okay. Do you want me to start describing this?
Yes.
Sure. Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna write this method, and we're gonna start out with a test. All right. And this is a simple test because I'm not using any tool. I'm just using Ruby. And so I'm going to call my method lines of communication. And as I said, I'm going to pass it a number of people, and I should get an answer. Now, I happen to know that if there's 0 people, the lines of communication should be 0. So I have a test here saying put S lines of communication 0 equal
Rose.
0, right?
Rose, it's a little hard to see your
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's Faith. What Faith?
Yeah.
Is that what
No,
you're
I can do that. Yeah, good point. Good point. Can I do it this way?
Oh yeah, Bill is
Is it
here.
bigger? Yeah. Okay. Is that better? Should I make it bigger?
Bigger.
Bigger?
Make
Make
it
it bigger.
Bigger the better. Make it American.
Bigger the better. Yeah, right. Think American.
Make your font size great again.
Yeah, make my font size great again. There you go. Love it. Love it. Yeah, USA, really? Anyway, go on. Put S lines of communication 0 equals 0. So this is a little test. And if I run it, let's see, I have to click on this. Okay, did I run the right thing? Yeah, so you can see now this also, I'm not sure how to get the terminal font bigger. But what the heck? I'm trying to bring this in and up and it won't come up. Oh, there it goes. There's like a lag. So what it's saying is undefined method, lines of communication for main object, no method error, which we would expect because do you see a method named lines of communication defined anywhere?
Matt, you got something for us?
Yeah.
I was just wondering if this is Rose, if this is something you thought that we should be typing as well, or if you're just going to explain it for us, or.
Well, I mean, you can go along with me and develop it. That's what I have the students do.
Oh, cool. All right. Just to clarify. So because I'm not going to be, I'll be looking at my editor. If you could just explain what you're doing that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is your test, right? You don't have a testing framework. It's just you're expecting
Ruby.
this to return true if it works.
Mm-hmm.
And right
Yeah,
now it's
so
returning.
Yeah, so these are very simple tests that just return true or false. That's it.
Cool.
And the expected
and
for them to pass is true.
exactly. Okay, so we're not using any testing tools. It's just they're either going to pass or they're not going to pass. Right? So now this is failing because there is no method. So what would be the next thing we should do to at least get something? In fact, what I do is I take very small steps so that like I'm not
Peter,
necessarily
what's the next
going to go
step?
green. I'm not going to necessarily go green in the next step, okay? But what would we have to do at least? Would we have to define the name, you know, like give the name of the method, right?
Oh no,
Yeah.
you gave the answer away.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to kind of get us a little going. Could somebody do that? Or do you want me to do it?
Do you have
Want me to start it?
You're already giving us the answer. Why can't you type it out?
Yeah, okay, I will.
I'm being ornery. I'm being ornery.
It's fine. It's fine.
No. We'll type it out. It's a joke.
Yeah,
I'm still on the puts lines of communication. Teacher, what does puts do?
Yeah, what's puts do?
Put S, put string.
Sorry, not.
Yeah, so it's evaluating it and then printing out a string version of the answer.
Okay, so I've ran mine and I got undefined method lines of communication for main object. No method error.
Yeah. Okay. So that's good.
So we're gonna create an empty method.
Yep. Empty method.
Right.
And wait, I have got such a lag going on here.
And this method would take one argument.
We're not even going to give it. We're not even going to do that. We're just going to save it and run it again.
Okay, cool.
And see what happens.
All right.
So, you know, we're kind of experimenting because we really don't know how to write Ruby yet, right?
Yeah.
Well, I got what mine says. I don't know if anyone else got something, but mine says wrong number of arguments.
Yeah. And that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because my test is expecting an argument, and yet I did not provide anything there. Okay. So what if we add just right here?
Yeah. Number of people.
Yeah.
Isn't number of people kind of long?
It is. What would you call it?
I was just thinking num, but I don't know.
No.
Maybe person. we could say num people. What do you think about that?
You could say num people.
Is that a better? Do we have some consensus here?
I don't know. Now I'm afraid to even give my ideas.
See.
Now I know what Faith is talking about. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So the reason num is bad is because we don't know what num is referring to.
Okay.
I mean, are we talking about number of cats? Are we talking about number of books? You know what I'm saying?
Number of lines.
So num people sort of gives you the idea that we're talking about communication between people.
All right. Cool.
And you know, there's other things we could call it too.
We could call it people count. We could call it all kinds of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Num people is fine. If you're actually going to be talking with people about this method, there is this problem that num people inhabits an interesting semantic conceptual space in English, where I'm thinking these are people who have lost feeling.
It's not NUMB, but yeah,
num people is good. Now we're going to do num people.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to run it, and we'll see what we get now.
Yeah,
right?
me too.
And we'll probably still have a problem. Is that right? I think.
Yeah, mine says false.
What the heck? Mine didn't do anything.
It should say false, right? The expectation would be that it's going to be comparing 0 to 0.
Yeah.
Right. Now there's, you know something? I remember oh, there's a reason for this, and I'm trying to remember why. Which maybe as we go on, it'll dawn on me why this is.
Oh, like your standard out needs to be wired up a certain way or something?
Well, we're not going to get any output here.
I'm
yeah, sure. and I should know why, but I can't remember.
Well, so I see false right there. Is that not what you want?
Oh, it finally, yeah, maybe it was just a lag. I was like, why is this doing this? Okay, yeah, it was just a lag.
So I don't know if anyone else is paying attention to the chat, but Bill is bringing up some good points there about having meaningful variable names, because the code itself should serve as its own documentation.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. So.
Yes. Sorry, just Bill's latest point.
Right. Yeah. Ryder likes that. What does that even mean? A dynamically typed late binding language. Am I the only one that's like, what?
So late binding, right? It's just in time assignment of values.
Well, it goes also with the type of the value, right? It's not just the assignment of the value, but it's a assignment of a value kind of with a type.
Well, in this case, when it's, as far as I know, with all that together, right?
Yeah, so at any rate, at this point, do we need to refactor something? I mean, is he making a point that this is not a good name, or?
I don't think so. And I don't, I mean, he was just saying that it means that the method will accept any type of input, including nil, which is interesting. And
well, yeah, actually, I guess it did, right? So it's false.
Yeah.
Right? So that worked, or at least, I mean, it didn't work. It gave us the error message that it should. So now let's give it the simplest change to make it pass, which would be what?
0.
Yeah, I would think so. Just return 0, right?
All right. Why is this indenting so far?
So if I put
it should auto indent, and it's not, and I don't know why.
Peter's got something.
So mine says true now.
Oops. Yeah, it should. Let's see. Save it. Run it.
Peter, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I think, Rose, you can set the spaces on the right part of the screen, basically on the panel. Yeah, the spaces.
Yeah, see, I'm just seeing this. Spaces 4. How did that happen? I never set it. I mean, that's like been reset. I never put 4.
Were you programming with someone and maybe they decided to?
I'm thinking somebody kind of did that without me knowing.
Python style.
What?
In a previous life, did you pair with someone and did you change the settings on their editor?
No.
Okay.
No, that I would not do. Yeah, that's like writing in someone's car and like changing their radio station. Yeah. I don't know. It's just it's like I wouldn't do that. But it's odd. Somebody did that, and it wasn't me. So define. All right. So we now have something passing, but maybe this isn't the most satisfactory way of passing. What do you think? So let's try it with another value and see if it still works.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to write more tests. So the key to everything is lots of tests. And why is this not? I'm trying. Okay. I've got this lag that's just beyond belief.
So you're going to, can I just guess what you're going to do here, or someone else guess what you're going to do?
Go ahead. And like I can type and somebody can tell me what to type. What should I type here?
Do you have an idea of a test that?
Well, I want to try some more values. So what would be like the logical next value?
Peter?
Yeah, for instance, if you type 1, already it's going to fail, right?
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to try. Well, is it?
It's not really a rule, Peter, the hand raising thing. Yeah. It's more like if, okay.
Yeah. It's just if some of us that like to talk so much are talking too much, then
yes, exactly.
Good way to get our attention.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to learn to shut up.
I'm running it. All right. So this is true as well. So, you know, at this point, I might think, well, great. You know, I've written the method. It works. No problem. Should I walk away?
No, I mean,
what do you think?
No.
I don't think Ryan is satisfied with that.
Yeah, no. So lines of communication, is that the expected result, that one person, if there's one person in the group, they have no lines of communication, like there's no line of communication with themselves? That's the expected result, right?
That's the right answer. That is the right answer.
Yeah. So definitely we want to do 2, and we want to say that it should equal 2. Wait, it should equal 1?
One.
Yeah.
One line of communication. That's right. That's right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, one of the things about writing this is you kind of have to know what the answer should be. All right. So now we're going to do this, and we're going to say, save it, run it.
Faith, should this fail or pass?
I have seen the answer.
Okay.
So it's what?
Is
it failing or passing?
And it was. We're considering true as our de facto.
Yeah, everything needs to be true. Everything needs to be true.
I mean, I have a theory as to why it's not true, because it seems like you're just returning the value 0 instead of returning.
Yeah, that would be why. That would be why. We haven't stuck the formula in yet. All right. But what we have done so far is proven that at least our tests so far work. All right. We are getting failures when we should, and we are getting true when we should. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Now, does anyone know the formula for this?
Is it factorial? Is it the thing factorial?
No, that's a different. You're thinking of something else.
Okay.
Does anyone know what it is? I'm sorry?
Use conditionals.
No, don't need them.
Mm.
At least at this point. At this point, you don't need it. Now, it's just a formula. So it's the lines of communication. Mm-hmm. And actually, there's several ways of looking at this. Another way that we could look at it is the, what is it? Like, if you look at a polygon, like any regular polygon, you'll get, it's the same formula that will give you the number of bisecting lines in a polygon. For instance, let's say you have a triangle, and let me see, there are no bisecting lines in a triangle. I'm doing this all wrong, aren't I? 3. Yeah, forget it. I'm sorry. I'm confusing this with yet something else. But there's a formula for this, which is simply that. Well, maybe I should tell you that in my beginning students, what I also do is we work it out what the answer should be experimentally. So I have students come up to where I am, and I have one student, and we ask how many, well, first there's no students. How many lines of communication are there? None. Then I have one student come in. How many lines of communication between that student? None. And then I have another student come up, and they shake hands. All right. And we say, okay, so how many lines of communication? Now it's 1, right? And then I have another student come up, and I have everyone shake hands with everyone else, and we count the number of handshakes, which give us the lines of communication. Does that make sense to you? So, like, when you have 0 people, it's 0. When you have 1 person, it's 0. When you have 2 people, it's 1. When you have 3 people, it's 2. When you have 4 people, is that 3? I don't know. I forget. So you have, right. Yeah. and so on. And what the formula turns out to be is n times n minus 1 over 2. Have you heard that formula before?
Yeah,
Probably for a variety of things.
I've just heard that recently, actually.
Yeah. Right.
Like
right.
really
So,
recently?
Like maybe a minute and a half ago.
yeah.
If I had to.
So we can try this, num persons times, and we'd want to put this in parentheses, although we could test it without it and fail, right?
Actually, I was thinking that unless n was equal to 0, but that's not correct because I did it. That's n times n minus 1, right? So 0.
Yes. Yes.
0 times minus 1 is 0, and 0 divided by 2 is 0.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And then 2. Right. So this is our formula. And I mean, we could have made mistakes and then it wouldn't have passed or whatever in the right places, et cetera, et cetera. But we can at least start at this point and see without adding any more tests. What does it do now? Do our old tests break? Does our new test finally pass? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, okay, there it is. So now they're all true.
Nice.
Okay. And then I want to try some other values, right? Also, is there any refactoring we can do at this point?
Yeah.
Before we go any further.
To point out, Bill reminded us that we do green-red refactor. So yeah, that's a good time to refactor some.
Yeah. So is there something that we could refactor right away? Has anyone heard of the concept of magic numbers?
Yes.
Yeah. Who's that?
That's me.
Ryder. Oh.
Yeah. So we.
So what does that mean? What's a magic number?
We can. Now I can never remember if the magic number is what you want or what you don't want.
It's what you don't want. It's what you don't want.
Yeah. So like, if you can wrap that number in a variable that explains what it is.
Yeah. And so the kind of rule of thumb that I was always taught and that I have my students use is that you shouldn't, in code that you write. Now, this is not a test. Test code, of course, demands that you use specific values in certain cases. But in code that's going to run and rerun, et cetera, you never want to use a literal number unless it's either 1, -1, or 0. Because with 1 or -1, increment, decrement, common operations, and everyone understands it. And 0, again, is usually understood unless it's used in a certain way, and then you would give it a name anyway. But you should give every other number a name. And so here's a suggestion, and you can like this or not like it. But, oh yeah, well, that, not so good if I don't type it right. And now, instead of using 2 here, I'll use half. You see what I did?
Yeah. So Bill was writing there on the chat as well to put a constant. Maybe is that what you did? You. Yeah.
But I didn't finish it. So what do I have to do? I want to use half, so I want to define it here, right? Half equals 2. Okay. So let me save this and run it and do my test will pass after refactoring. And they do. Okay. So I did a red-green refactor. Now I'm ready to check it for other values. Somebody ask a question?
I was just wondering if you're calling it half, why it wouldn't be like, instead of doing divided by half, just doing like times 0.5. But I don't know.
I mean, there's a lot of you're saying you're saying why am I using the whole number instead of a real, multiplying by the real?
Yeah, I guess.
I was always taught in writer you can.
Yeah, I
jump
would.
in with this.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was always taught that if you can do it with a whole number, do it with a whole number because they're more accurate.
Oh, yeah. I'm not at all dissenting with that. I just I wouldn't have made
You
it.
wouldn't
into
have called it half.
No, I mean, I just wouldn't. I just would have left it as 2, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
I was just.
I mean, as I said, we have like really rigid rules in academia.
Yeah.
So even 2, because 2 could be used different ways. 2 might be a doubling. 2 might be half. 2 might,
exactly.
whatever. So it just clarifies what you're doing with it.
And I thought the reason for like refactoring was to it seems like we created more lines of code instead of less lines.
Oh, it's not necessarily less or more. It's making it more clear.
Yeah. But I guess
more clear or more maintainable.
Yeah. Well, both. Okay. Yeah. Well, clear is maintainable in general, but more maintainable.
But you could have other kinds of maintainability other than clarity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because for me, it doesn't seem clear. Like when you say divided by half, that's, I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, again, I mean, we can change that. We can refactor it further later. For now, I'd like to try it with some other numbers and see if it still works.
Yeah, definitely.
So here's some more tests, and I'm going to save it, and I'm going to run it. And I'm going to see if it works. All right, so these are all working. Now, I mean, I could do this ad infinitum, right? And wouldn't that be silly, right? So at this
just run it through quick test.
At this point, at this point, I'm going to kind of go in a slightly different direction, right? And we'll loop back around to this in the end. But what I'd like to do now is say, well, what if somebody decides to send me like a negative number? Would that be right? And it wouldn't be, right? So how about if I write a test, and in fact, I'm going to probably put it right up here. What if I do something like this? So if somebody gives me the value -1, how about if I have something called a negative person's error, and then I have a little message that will come out saying expected argument is greater than or should be greater than or equal to 0.
Am I right to think that this negative person's error is probably a custom error?
Yeah. So let me run it. Let me run it. Right. Okay. And we see that it fails, right? Well, why does it fail? Exactly for the reason that you said, right? So what do I have to do now to make this test pass?
No. Faith, Peter?
Now we get into error handling, which in Ruby is pretty easy. This is a sort of an argument error, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I can define a subclass of argument error.
Well, so this is where we're actually starting to show some of the limitations of not having a testing framework. Because I could also make this pass just by having a guard clause that kicks me out with that string. Because does that make sense?
Yeah, but again, I mean, remember, I'm working with students before they've worked with any sort of testing framework. So it's intentionally not all that sophisticated. But you're right. Okay, you're right. Which is why we then learn testing frameworks. Or one of the reasons, anyway. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to type, but I'm not doing a good job.
So you're getting into raising errors, correct?
Yeah. And so now, I mean, here's one thing. I could just run it again because I'm not doing anything with this. I could just run it again, and it's still going to fail, right? because I'm not doing anything with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
You need actually.
So I need more. I need to add some stuff here. And what I'm going to do, because this is a lot of typing, I hope you don't mind, is I'm going to kind of paste a block here. All right. So in Ruby, when we deal with error handling, we have a begin, rescue, end block.
Mm-hmm.
So in the begin, we say what could happen where an error is raised either because of computation or an input, or we raise it on purpose. And then rescue says what we want to have happen when that happens. So here I have raised negative person error, which I created up here. And
which is inheriting from argument error. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
which
so
argument error is not a custom error. It's a actual
argument error is one of the standard Ruby errors.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm saying in here, expected argument must be positive whole number if persons is less than 0, and then and notice that this is a comma. So this is a message that's going to appear and then I have on line 9, I just have my regular line of code. And if it's good data, you know, it's going to ignore this and just go on to this calculation. But on line 10, if the error was raised, it'll rescue it, and it saves the message as an object of exception. And then it's going to, using string interpolation. Does everybody recognize this Ruby string interpolation syntax?
Yeah.
Yes. In quotes, we have a string, right? And this is saying, I have # curly braces. It's saying, take whatever this value is and print it out, like insert it into the string, I should say. All right, interpolate it into the string. So the exception class, which should be negative person's error, and then I have a colon, and this is all inside the string. And then I have another string interpolation here, which is interpolate the message associated with the exception into the string.
Yep.
And then, you know, like, let's see how this looks. So we save it.
It's still gonna fail.
Yeah,
it's still gonna fail.
Yeah.
It's looking for a different message than the one your test case expects.
Yeah, you're looking for if persons instead of if number of people.
Oh, did I? Hold on. I think I.
Is that what you mean, right? Or because
actually, that's not what I meant, but that's another error. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I expected. Okay, hold on a second. I have.
Because
So I mean, the least invasive change to fix that error, Matthew, right, would be to just change our num people parameter name on 5 to persons.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That's my problem. Where did I?
But when you say it's still going to fail,
num persons. Yeah. Num people. I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't realize I did that.
Yeah. So
I was trying to see where you were saying. I realized I did something goofy.
Yeah, but then you need to change line 9 as well. So that's why Ryder was suggesting just to change the line.
No. I'll just make it consistent.
Right, but you could have made it consistent the other way.
Yeah, I could have, but I mean, it was I got confused about what we actually called it. In my head, I was calling it person. Sorry.
Yeah.
But Ryder, what do you mean by it's still going to fail? Because we expect it to still fail. The only difference is we expect it to fail with a better message about why it failed and do something about it. Or in this case, not do something, just
no. Actually, this test will pass.
No.
Because we're saying if you give it bad data, it will tell you it failed.
I understand, but it literally can't pass right now because on line 11, you've got exception.class negative person's error. That part is fine. And then you've got exception.message, which is going to be expected argument must be positive whole number. And down here, it's expected argument greater or equal to 0.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, okay, negative person's error.
So if you just copied like the end of line 15, expected argument greater or equal to 0, and
I'll tell you, you guys are collaborating, right? Go ahead, because all of a sudden my typing, what's happening is I'm trying to type and it's lagging, and then I am typing what's in my head instead of what I should type.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that lag is because of the Cloud9 workspace or because of...
No, I'm having some issues with my computer.
Okay. Can you post a link to the Cloud9 workspace that you're in right now?
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's if I can. Yeah. Okay. So get my mouse up there and actually do it.
Also, Bill was suggesting that the exception message string is another magic number that should be a constant. But
yeah. Well, you know what? I got to this point. It was taking so long. I was taking so long that I thought I'd wait till the end to do that. But that's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, so there's a couple things there also, because like if anybody saw me making grotesque faces during that, it's because it's like this whole notion of catching your own exception. Like I don't understand why. And then the exception message string, that's a place where I am more inclined to agree with Bill about making that into a constant. The thing you have to understand,
it should be.
Well, maybe the thing you have to understand about me is that I'm really, really abstraction phobic. I see people abuse abstractions all the time, and a constant is an abstraction. It's one of the simplest, cleanest abstractions you can make, but it's still an abstraction, and I just I really feel those things need to be really strongly motivated to want to have them in the code I write.
When you say Ryder, when you say because Bill made a similar point in the chat about catching your own exception, but is there? I understood, like, because I was doing some slides for this Floripa meetup there, and I was reading a little bit about exceptions, and you're in this case we're catching our own exception, or we're raising an exception.
So we're raising one and then catching it.
We're raising one and then catching it. Yes.
This is amazing.
I mean, wouldn't you need to catch it if you raise it, or am I missing something there?
So I'm not sure what we're doing here, and I think we may again be just trying to work around the limitations, Rose, right, of the fact that we're using puts as our did some revelatory.
I mean, again, these are students who just barely know anything, and put s is one of the things they know. All right, and we're just taking them through this little circus to like get them used to the idea of TDD, get them acquainted with some of Ruby, a very rudimentary set of Ruby statements, and you know it's not perfect. And when we get to the end, we do a pile of refactoring. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now we just want to see, oh, jeez, I'm having such a time with this. It is a struggle to type anything.
I mean, that's why we're trying to get over to that. And you gave it to us.
Yeah, I requested access, Rose. I don't know if you need to. I think you need to approve that access.
Okay, you know, I keep on trying to open this and it keeps on closing.
So is the point of rescuing your own exception here, Rose, so that you don't get just like into throw land where you're erring out and you can't get this true, which is your passing test anymore? Like if we didn't catch this?
Okay, the point is we want to show people who have never written in Ruby before how to create a custom error message and how to raise it in one hand and how to handle it in the other. All right. And this particular test, it just shows that, in fact, when that error is raised, it's handled properly.
Okay.
I mean, it's nothing very sophisticated. It's
well,
very
no,
simple.
it's not sophisticated. It is very simple. It's just I'm trying to understand the motivation of, and you said
the motivation
pedagogy.
The motivation is that I want to have a set of tests, and even we're not using a testing harness, so I am limited by what the Ruby language allows me to do easily. And I just want to have some convention that says, if it does what I want it to, then I want the answer to be true, that it passed the test.
Right.
So in this case, if I invoke the method with an incorrect argument, -1, what should be returned is this negative person's error. Expected argument must be positive whole number. And if it does that, then my test passes because, in fact, it did what I wanted it to.
This is like in like Capybara and stuff is like expect to be, whatever.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So that would be the first error message I would look at. Now, there's plenty of other things that we should look at as well. I mean, this is just one. And so what about, for instance, if somebody doesn't give me, forget it, like whether it's negative or positive, how about if they just don't give me a whole number? Oh, this is driving me nuts. I am like trying to open Windows and stuff and nothing is working. So what is perhaps another edge case that we should be concerned about?
Yeah, just if you give it a totally wonky type.
Yeah. Exactly. So, for instance, let's say, okay, so let me put some more tests in here that will do that. Let's see if I can get this to work.
I'm just gonna, can I type? That's okay.
Well, can you wait just 1 second?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna put a series of things in here.
Okay.
So here I have a number of tests, and like if they put in 0.5, if they put in cat, if they put in a plus sign, or an array or a hash, none of these things should be acceptable. Is that right?
They shouldn't. And we do need to test for all of them. I just want to briefly make my plug for compiled languages, compiled strongly typed languages, in that we would need test cases for none of those if we were working in C# or Java or.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But, you have the power of dynamic typing versus the rigidity of and speed of compiled type languages. So, it's always a toss-up.
Yeah.
It's just, we're using Ruby, so that's what I have to deal with. And these students will have already done work with Java and C++, actually.
Can I ask a question? Bill brought up a point that I was curious about, that he was saying that the begin and rescue should be outside of the method wrapping the test.
Oh, outside of the method wrapping the test, it's inside. It's not part of. At this point, again, not using a testing harness or anything. This is part of the method. And why wouldn't I want it part of the method? If somebody enters something into the method.
What he said here was like if you raise like it looks like a constant called invalid number exception, if the number of people is numeric or the number of people is less than 0.
Yeah, okay. And actually, that's one of the
if number of people is not a numeric.
Yeah. I think,
yeah. I'm trying to think. There was something originally, like a couple years ago, I wrapped it in one thing. I can't remember the name I gave it. But yeah, there's a number of ways you could go about this. I'm kind of taking it step by step to show them the different edge cases you have to look for.
Yeah.
Okay, as opposed to kind of glomming everything together.
Yeah.
So it's not like, I mean, don't think of this as it's going to come out like a totally polished, this is the way you'll want to do this. But I think it's a good exercise for students who are first learning some of the syntax, et cetera, associated with error handling, et cetera. So, I mean, there's limitations here. And apparently there's limitations with my being able to type in my own C9 because I can't seem to get anywhere. But here we're saying, what if we also include a not an integer error, and then we can raise not an integer error, okay? And we're going to do this first, since the other one might fail. And if we do the other one first, we won't get to that. We'll crash. So let's see if I can do this. And again, my typing is going to be all screwed up because it is. I can't believe this. I'm clicking, I'm typing, and nothing is happening. I'm trying to change indentation and whatever, and nothing is happening. So raise not an integer error. Okay. All right. Expected argument must be scalar whole number. And here I'm going to put a little predicate, if I can. I'm sorry this is taking so long. It should take seconds, and everything is half frozen. I don't know if this is because I'm collaborating or what, but
don't know. Yeah.
Very frustrating.
Yeah, I don't think from my point of view, I don't think I'm not too concerned about it. I know it's probably frustrating for you, but
it's like I can't keep a train of thought because
well, that's all right. That's all right. So you've got this bare minimum testing thing, and you want your students who've not worked with Ruby before to understand some of the changes in this ecosystem from ones that they have worked in. You want them to understand good testing practices and things they're going to want to think of. You want them to understand error handling.
And the basics of TDD without using a testing harness.
Yeah.
So here, I think I finally have that in, and I'll save it, and I will run it. And let's see what it does. And I can't bring up this. What is going on? Oh, it hasn't even run yet. Look at this.
I think you're calling again the isArray method on persons and not num-people.
I'm sorry?
You're
calling did I do that again? I keep on putting the wrong. So num-people. Where did I say? I probably said persons, right? Because that's what I was thinking of in my head. So num-people. Okay. Yeah, person. You're right. You're right. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, where's my navigators when I type this nonsense? I have to make this about someone else's mistake, right? Not mine. We
can't see it either, right? Because the lag,
Right. No, I mean, I'm teasing. I know this is my mistake. And how many times am I going to type this? Oh, did I ever? I probably should stop this. Stop. Try again.
Yeah. So, okay. So now we're talking about me being abstraction phobic, but here's a very obvious case where I am 100% on board with Bill. And it's all those not an integer errors, expected argument must be scalar whole number. When it's that many times in the test code, absolutely that needs to be a constant, because you can replace all of those strings with a shorter constant. That also makes it, there's one place you change when you want to change that. If you,
but given the situation I'm in right now, where I can't type anything, I'm throwing that.
I mean, we can help you as well, Rose, if you just guide us. Maybe that would help with some of the.
But do you see why this isn't? I mean, is there still a typo in there? Num people. I don't see it, and it's not finishing running. And I don't know if that's just because everything is lagging in my C9 or what, but nothing's happening.
I don't know. I don't really use C9 so often. I can run it locally.
I'm almost ready to like kick you all out and see if it works. If I'm not collaborating, I mean seriously, I don't know what to do.
Necessary, I think.
I'm done with you.
So why did we come over here? I know you wanted our opinion on how you sort of introduce students into this piece, Rose. Is that the main reason we came over here?
And I'm not yet. No, the main reason was just that apparently we have some people here who aren't all that familiar with Ruby, and I thought it might be illuminating, but it's just going so slow and so frustratingly that I don't know if it's helping anyone.
I'm sharing my screen if I don't know if because I can.
I think our newbiest Rubyists are Faith and Matt in that order.
Yeah, I'm quite new as well.
Is this running? Is this running in your C9, Matt?
No, I no, in my C9 no, but I'm just running. I normally just run it locally. I know it's not as good for being able to.
Well, can you run it?
Yeah,
when you run it, what happens?
Can you see my screen? It says true, trace back. Most recent call from last, number 1 from weekend collaboration for the file. Lines of communication, expected argument to be scalar whole number, no integer, not an integer error.
Can you show where you're seeing that?
Can you not see?
Hold on. Okay. Not an integer, expected argument. Oh, line is too long. Great. Okay, so in this environment, it's not going to run anyway. Okay, so you did make it a constant, which is what you should. Yeah.
I mean, it's right to get Ryder to.
I mean, the thing is, Ryder, I completely agree with what you're saying. It's just I hadn't gotten to the refactor. I haven't gotten it to pass yet, let alone go to refactor.
Bill has a suggestion that might help your bandwidth.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in the chat.
Oh, it is?
Hopefully it doesn't have anything to do with kicking us out.
Yeah, okay. Press and choose call quality and lower the setting.
Is there a reason why, I'm just trying to understand, are you, when you're doing this in class, are you copying and pasting all of these not an integer error at the same time, or are you introducing them one by one?
Well, I mean, I'm asking the students what they would suggest, and either they type it in or I just copy it and paste it in, which is fast. But I can't seem to copy and paste anything right now.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there wasn't a reason.
It's making me a little crazy.
You couldn't actually start with putting a constant, like, hey guys, we're going to use this many times, and you'll see, and then just start with a constant?
Well, I don't want to start with a constant because I want to test it first, and then if we're satisfied with what it's doing, then I want to make it a constant.
So that's part of your refactor cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm still
and if nothing else, because at this point they're not that sophisticated to do sophisticated refactoring, so I have them do very simple refactoring. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But I know it's awful in the middle. Yeah, I'm still not getting anywhere.
None of it's awful.
Driving me crazy.
You know.
Well, I mean, you know, I understand what you're saying, and it's irritating me that I can't fix it.
Okay.
Is there a reason why I'm still getting? Because I should be getting, with this equals not an integer error, I should be getting true instead of getting the actual error, right?
Yeah, you should be getting true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
unless I've got a typo here, which, you know, I could have a typo because this is
although
horrendous.
What are we rescuing? So in that rescue inside the method, we're only rescuing negative persons errors.
Oh, there's the typo. Of course, yeah.
So what would I
really?
Okay.
No. Please don't do what you're about to do, and I'll tell you why. I mean, you can do it and we can iterate on it and that would be fine too. And maybe it's bad that I'm skipping right to the better solution, what I think is better, and we'll figure that out here in a second. But here's the thing. On 15, you're rescuing how many kinds of errors?
1.
Okay.
Well, as many as appear in 14.
Well.
Right, but how many types of errors?
Yeah. Just the negative persons error.
Currently.
Okay. Yes.
Currently.
So what do both negative persons error and not an integer error inherit from?
From argument error.
From argument error.
Is there anything in that message printing stuff that is going to be exclusive to any kind of argument error that you're going to handle here?
Well, I think it gives a little more information. It's just more specific. One is more specific than
right,
I mean,
right. But isn't the body of your rescue, when you do rescue not an integer error, also going to be exception.class, exception.message interpolated?
Absolutely.
Well, then why wouldn't you just say rescue argument error rather than two
separate
clauses?
Oh, yeah. No, I see what you're saying. So you're saying at this point, introduce the idea of the inheritance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have I have that.
Yeah,
here.
that was another step.
Anyone wants to see?
So like here is what I started with, but you're saying do this, which is my next step. Am I right?
No. I mean, you could do that, and I think that would still be preferable to having two separate begin blocks with duplicated guts, right? With duplicated two separate rescue blocks with the implementation of that block, the content of that block being the same. But I mean, that would be fine too. I guess I just don't see why you wouldn't rescue the argument error. Again, unless you're expecting that method to throw other argument errors that are going to want to
the only argument errors that could happen are the ones I've defined. It's either you've put in something that's not an integer, or you've put in something that's an integer but it's negative.
So that being the case, I don't know why we wouldn't just say rescue argument error and rely on the inheritance.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying that I do it step by step.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay, so let's cut to the chase. Let's cut to the chase.
On that, I sent a link and it talks about the hierarchy of errors, and like it talks a little bit about talking about Ryder about being careful not to, for example, not to rescue like exceptions, because then it can end up in a really long loop or something like this, because it's going to try to rescue every error. But then you can and then they have clearly displayed here the hierarchy of the exceptions. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, now I'm wondering if I did this. I probably made another set of typos or something. This is making me miserable.
So Bill's weighing into, yeah, and saying, you know, really we should only do that if we want to not catch certain exceptions. Then goes on to say, you know, for this example, it should simply be rescue. I never want to put rescue in, but I'm very kind of anal and pedantic about that. Like a top level catches all exceptions. The only reason I would ever do that is for logging. Like if I wanted to catch anything and log what it was, like wrap it and log it or something. Otherwise, there's no other reason I would ever want to catch a top level exception.
Yeah.
Just as a general
okay,
practice.
so am I doing this wrong now? Okay, because I can't open up what I was referring to. Should I let me just go back to this because I think at least that was working, which is kind of driving me crazy. So yeah, this is not great, but at least you can see the philosophy of doing it a step at a time. And hopefully it'll work. And if not, maybe it'll give me an error message that makes sense and I can find where I typed something wrong.
Yeah, okay. So now we're back to the rescue. This is again.
So now we're back to that. Just
and it really shouldn't. It doesn't make sense for the rescue for the method to rescue its own exceptions. It's very strange, and I do feel it gets students off on the wrong foot. Yeah.
Okay. Again, I'm working with some limitations here, so I'm hoping, Ryder, you can perhaps before we're done change some of this because I feel like I have my hands tied.
Yeah, totally. And you know, your hands might really legitimately be tied. I just even if it's just to like show another angle and then show why that wouldn't work and why your hands are tied, I always feel like that's helpful. Yeah,
well, what I'm saying is every time I try to type something,
what am I not hearing?
Like my mouse is moving around by itself and I put it in one place and it goes somewhere else and it's jumping all over and I don't know what is going on. This is very frustrating. But at any rate, what I usually do next before like a more complete refactoring is I refactor my tests. So instead of having all these individual tests, I make a test hash where the key is the key is the argument and the value is what I expect. And then I have a line that's test hash each pair, and we have num people, comma, value, and a put s lines of communication, and you know it invokes it. So then it all just does all this automatically, one fell swoop, and then I go back and I refactor a whole pile of stuff. But I'm not being able to do anything here, so
so
what Bill's this is turning out so badly.
No, this has gone really well. I don't know why you'd say it's going badly. Oh, hey, Peter's taking off. Great having you, Peter.
Thanks, Peter.
Bye, guys. Thanks, Peter.
Well, I'll be around tomorrow if you want to hang out.
Yeah, I will definitely will.
Cool.
Take care.
Yeah. Bye.
I'm running a RuboCop on this, and I'm getting quite a few errors. I'm sure that's not helpful, but
yeah,
what
I think
is it telling you?
It's complaining about lots of things, but more importantly, I'm getting now I'm not getting the error call anymore, but I'm getting false on all those last edge cases, which is a little bit surprising because I would think, I don't know if you guys can see my screen. And
expected argument must be scaled whole number. What is the freeze about?
It's something that RuboCop talks about when you're using a constant that you should use .freeze.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Like if I'll take it off and you can look at the actual.
No. I mean, I just
Well,
They
I think-
started that
Agree with that.
with
Define
Ruby
communication
2.3, I think.
people. Begin must be
It's,
a
okay.
whole number
It's something
unless
new.
when people is an
And-
integer.
Yeah,
Raise
if
negative
it's
person
mutable object
error
assigned
must
to
be
constant.
positive whole number if dumb people is less than 0. And then, yeah, so I mean, writer,
Yes.
if I were calling this from some other method or from a test harness,
Mm-hmm.
I would have the rescue in that.
So
But I'm
what
not.
Bill's suggesting is that you actually just put your begin rescue essentially above all your puts, I think. Like you wrap all
see.
your puts in the begin rescue.
Yeah, I guess I could do that. So I'm in essence make this the little testing harness. I see what you're saying.
Well, now he's saying just the one that expects it. So the issue, Bill, is there's like 7 that expect it.
There's 7 that expect what?
There's 7 that need a rescue in order to not just throw to standard out and crap out.
Right. So, well, it seems like it wouldn't be. It would be the raise that you'd wrap all this in, wouldn't it be?
It would be the
Oh
raise.
no, that won't work. Never mind, that won't work. Yeah, I don't know. The only other thing I could think of is that write a driver for this, and then I wouldn't have this issue. Because I agree with you. You want the rescue in the calling method, not in this method, or
Yeah.
I mean, at a minimum, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this is driving me crazy. So what isn't working here?
What isn't working?
I don't know. Matt is saying it's not working, so I'm trying to figure out: is there a
Yeah.
typo or what's going
Yeah,
on?
so you're still crapping out with an error. It looks like.
Well, that was because I removed this rescue.
Oh, that's because you removed the rescue. Okay.
Because I was doing something. The expectation is an error, so I was thinking maybe we. Anyways,
No, you have to have. It's gonna fail unless you have that rescue.
Well, the thing is that's what I was saying is that all of those edge cases are failing. So I can go back to here and show you what I've got. I've got this constant you can do in snake case.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't complain.
Uppercase snake case.
And then this I put in 2 lines because it was Rubicop was complaining about it being too many characters. But
the problem is that I think it might be taking your 2 lines literally, right? And like it's including that white space in that string, which of course is kill your test.
Right. Yeah. Well, what if you said not an integer error equals, and then on line 3 after 2 spaces put the whole quote. Try that.
Sorry.
All right, take the quote, not an integer error. Take that whole thing and cut it.
Okay.
And then put it on line 3 at indentation 2.
Yeah, but it still was failing even when it was all on one line directly after.
Your terminal is frozen, so I can't see it.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
What?
If you look at line 16, how many spaces are between your exception.class and your exception.message?
Look at that.
And you actually just broke our test on line 20, Matt, by making it. But now it's all 1, so now we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I put 2 spaces after it.
Okay.
Can you share your screen again? Because at least it looks like yours is doing something. Mine is frozen.
But Ryder, you could still see, right? Or no?
I can still see.
Okay, I'll try again so Rose can still see. And it must be getting really late in Kenya right now. I think it's about midnight in Kenya.
Oh my goodness.
So maybe we need to consider that before we schedule the next one. Yeah. Can you see, Rose?
Huh. I found a weird character on line 15. It wasn't. Oh, now it still is not doing what I expected to do. Oh, that's weird. It's like I've got a tab in there and it should be 2 spaces. And I can't get rid of it.
On line, which line?
On my line 15, this is a tab instead of 2 spaces, and I don't know why. So, that's never going to work. Like,
why is it never going to work?
Well, because this is. Let me see. This is
line 15 is the compiled what do we call language stuff? It's the.
Yeah, but I'm saying it seems to be embedding a tab in there instead of 2 spaces. So it's not the same character.
Oh, you're talking.
And when I try to get rid of it, it comes back as a tab again. It's like I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But it's pissing me off.
For sure. Yeah.
I've corrected it a number of times, and it keeps on coming back as a tab. So here's 1 space. Here's 1 space. Now, I went back, and again, it's treating it as 1 character. Again. What's happening?
What happens if you run, we probably don't have Rubocop in this workspace, do we?
No,
Okay.
I'm probably going to have to put it there. So yeah, I finally was able to see Matt's stuff. Oh, Matt, can we see your screen again? So is it working now?
I was going to suggest we run Rubocop-A, which will autocorrect all your weird white space stuff.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's just so bizarre. How would that? I never use tabs. Like ever.
Woo! 18 offenses corrected.
And what were the offenses?
Some of them were spaces.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's test interrupt.rb. Well, I'm going to show you a version of this just so you can see a version. This is the pre-refactoring version.
So sorry, Bill. I'm just seeing your message now. Which is just put 1 space or no spaces. We just need it working. We don't need it working exactly like we want it to work. Yeah. Us abstract thinkers.
Right.
We got to stick together.
All right. So I'm replacing what you're seeing on my screen with this, which is a version that I would work up to prior to refactoring.
Yeah, so Cloud9 is trying to Visual Studio you into submission. That's probably not an effective joke in this audience. It's trying to be helpful and destroying your work in the process.
I see. And something is happening that I don't want. Yeah.
Bill says there's probably a setting you can change.
Okay. Well, I mean, these settings I don't understand where these settings are coming from. I guess that's what I'm saying. I'm used to working a certain way. I've already set the settings. And I mean, before I found my spaces set to 4, and that was puzzling. So I don't know what's going on. At any rate, so then what I would do at this point is point out that we have all this repetition, right? Okay, and that's the point where we would say, okay, well, let's make this a constant also, right? And notice that here with the test hash, it's more efficient, right? And then, as you said, I think it sounds to me like the thing that I ought to concentrate on doing from now on is maybe I should just write a driver since I'm not working within a test harness and put my rescue in there. What do you think?
You could. Honestly, I don't know. And this is just my thought, and take it with grains of salt. But it seems like your own custom lightweight testing thing is an exercise that's potentially, I understand that's not the point of this exercise. It's just you're trying to get them in without the overhead of a testing framework.
Right.
But it seems like that's an exercise which can be more useful for more advanced students. And granted, I've not taught testing before, so I don't have all the years of experience, and there could be some really fundamental bad assumptions I'm making. I'm just wondering, is it really that difficult to introduce a testing framework here and do these things through the testing framework instead?
Well, I do know that when in the semester when I do introduce Capybara, everyone seems to pick up just great, and Cucumber. But RSpec, it's a struggle. And the reason that I started doing this was because there was no stepping stone between, learning the RSpec test and just getting through the basics of TDD. Do you see what I'm saying? And actually, the idea, Sam had done something some years ago where, with working out the first assignment, what he did was he just would do it in a TDD manner, again, just throwing in some regular Ruby statements like this and saying, do they pass, do they not pass? And that's how he would do assignment 1 in the MOOC, right? Because they haven't been introduced to any sort of testing framework yet. And so I felt like that had something to that would be helpful to me in making the jump. I mean, the problem is teaching the TDD philosophy without having that harness in place is a little abstract.
Yeah.
So that's why I started doing it.
Yeah, I mean, Bill says that he agrees it's the simplest way to teach tests. But I don't know. I was introduced to RSpec with I guess without having any of this. I mean,
in some ways, this is a two-edged sword because they're being introduced not only to testing in a TDD way. I mean, it's not like they're being introduced to testing harnesses for the first time. It's just that they're being introduced to doing it in this particular agile fashion using BDD and TDD. I lost my train of thought there. How about that?
They're learning BDD, TDD, right? They haven't done testing before.
And they're learning Ruby. This is their first week in Ruby.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it seemed like I was killing two birds with one stone, sort of, with doing this in Ruby and presenting TDD. Now, as far as the idea of where the rescue is, I see how you see that as a huge problem. But to be honest, my students understand why I'm putting it here, and they know where it should go.
I want to be clear. I don't see it as a huge problem because there is production code and there's instructional code, and there are different constraints operating on both of those things. To have something that was intended for testing in the guts of a production method is terrible. And yes, I would say that's terrible. But especially anyway. I don't think this is terrible. I just wonder, is there a way that we can get everybody's needs met? No, I'm in total agreement. I mean, actually, see, what you're pointing out now is what we're doing today. Yeah. This is a terrible venue for having this line 14 and 14 through 16 in today. Okay. Yeah. Now, the students at the beginning of the semester, they already know that they should put a rescue in the invoking method or further beyond, whatever.
You know, that's something that they don't need to be told.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I introduced this as being in here as just sort of a like a way to get things done quickly without forcing them to learn everything up front, okay? I don't have a problem, or they don't have a problem with that, which is why I don't have a problem with that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But in this context, it's terrible.
I perfect world, I think we would fix it, but I really don't think it's terrible.
But you've given me, no, you've actually given me like, this would be a really good thing to improve here, don't you think?
Maybe. Bill is starting to come around to your way of thinking, potentially. Not that it's good to have it in there, but that it might be okay.
Yeah. But the thing is, in a context that isn't the very constrained context that I use this in, it's not a good thing to put here. So wouldn't it be better and all around more useful to write it in a manner that was clear and useful in all situations? So at any rate, I'm just trying to think of a way that I could somehow, you know, write a driver and maybe have the test code call the driver. I don't know. I'm there's different ways of doing this. All right.
Yeah.
But that's food for thought. That's great. But as far as like the only thing I objected to was everyone's horror at this not being this stuff not being a constant right off the bat, because again, I didn't have a whole lot of stuff for them to refactor. So
no. You want those good wins, right? You want simple refactors, because the reason I put it in there is because they're not going to recognize a whole lot of stuff, but that they could recognize and say, hey, that's awful. You know? So we should change it. Awesome.
So anyway, that's my philosophy behind that. But I like the idea of thinking about how I'm going to take this out and improve it so that this would be a more clear example for everyone in every situation.
What do you think, Faith?
Yeah, Faith is the person that I was trying to show a few things, you know, some basic stuff, and I think somehow everything kind of got lost.
This is too much for a beginner.
Well, okay. So they're not real beginners.
Yeah.
Faith. They have done C++ and they've done Java.
Yeah, I think there's a distinction. I was thinking the same as Faith. Because there's different.
Well, you know,
even Bill was commenting about like making assumptions about what the people do know or don't know, because I think like there's people who are, I don't know, like maybe in the course that you teach, Rose, it's different. It sounds like it's different than for example Faith and my way of coming to the course. But like when I came to the course, I knew a little bit, like, but basically not, you know. And I just started learning about raising upset. I didn't even anything about these exceptions until I started doing slides for the Ruby meetup, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I mean, the students who take my course, the youngest are juniors. And I have a lot of graduate students that take this. And of course, graduate students already have a degree in computer science.
Yeah.
But, you know, I would like to make maybe different versions of this that introduce similar ideas in a simpler way.
I'm Faith. I don't know if you wanna give any feedback. I also like, I mean, just little things, I guess, that I don't know.
I mean, you guys seem to do great at the beginning stuff where we were putting in the formula and we were trying it with different values. Am I right?
Yeah.
No? Okay, so you're saying that you were having trouble following that part, and it wasn't just when we started putting the error messages in.
The first part was okay.
The first part was okay.
Yeah, so when you started putting error messages, like, just felt like...
Okay. Well, maybe it's something I should put in several pieces.
Actually, like for me, like I don't know, because I guess Faith and I are both beginners, but we don't have the same exact experience, you know. So like I didn't I didn't jump straight to this formula of how to get as I said, like I was thinking maybe we would use some sort of conditional, but then I think we would have easily found that there's not very many. Like either you would have had lots and lots of conditionals, which would probably be a problem, or you know, or like if you couldn't write, like if you're saying if the number of people is 0, then return 0, or if it's 0 or 1, return 0. But then if it's 1, return, you know, I think we would have easily seen that it wouldn't have worked. But I that's where I would have started if I would have been by myself. I didn't like jump to this formula that Ryder shared on the chat. Like that's not where my mind got.
Yeah, well, again, by the time they get to be juniors or seniors, they already know this formula.
Yeah.
And the way that I teach them this formula in like the freshmen is a completely different manner.
Yeah.
Where I think I started to describe, I have them come up and they shake hands, and on the board we put how many, you know, like we make a little chart. For 0 people, it's this many. For 1, it's this. And then we show that basically you're filling a diagonal in a square, if you think of it that way.
Yeah.
Like we prove it visually, completely visually.
Faith, do you understand how they came to this? Because I still don't know if I mean I guess I understand if you take the formula and go backwards, but like where if you put 100 people, there's like 4,000 connections or something like that.
100?
Yeah, if there's 100 people, there's 4,950 lines of communication.
496, I think. Is that right? I don't know.
4596.
Something like that. Yeah. Okay.
Ryder said he's got to get going soon.
Yeah. Sorry.
And also, we've been recording for more than 2 hours as well.
Yes, so like within the next 10 minutes, I need to be heading out. It's not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, I can work on making like a little template up, and maybe show some diagrams so that visually it'd be a little more clear where it comes from. But honestly, if you forgot, like if you were one of my juniors or seniors and you forgot this formula, you could just go to the internet and look it up.
Yeah, that's exactly where I got it from.
But how did you but like you can look up anything on the internet, but sometimes knowing how to ask the right question.
Yeah, absolutely.
I looked up formula for number of relationships in a group.
Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. So Bill asked a question about what we're recording for. Yeah, Bill, sorry, you probably joined after we started recording. And what is the purpose of this group? I guess the reason I saw for us recording is just in case there's people who wanted to watch the video later, but then didn't, like in the Agile Ventures. Yeah, so you found on Gitter. That's cool. I didn't know it was.
I didn't realize we had a Gitter or anything.
No, I think maybe because of YouTube Live. I don't know. So we're all part of a community called Agile Ventures, which has a website that I can post here. agileventures.org is the website. And I don't know. Yeah, it's a website that connects people for pair programming and to do work with open source projects that are also free. And yeah. I don't know if anyone else wants to add anything. Faith, maybe you want to add something?
It's the most awesome open source project you can be part of.
Cool. So you're aware of Agile Ventures, Bill. Cool. So I guess that's the purpose. We did ask for people's consent at the beginning of the call, so sorry if you weren't there for that. But yeah, this chat I don't think will be part of the video. But
oh gosh, all meetings are automatically announced in the SaaSbook MOOC Gitter chat.
Oh, actually, that brings up a point because Faith Federico that maybe of changing actually the event, the purpose of the event from the CS 169 to something different that would automatically be announced on the general channel of the Slack group. So I don't know if it has any.
And I mean, whatever the case, like you shouldn't have this experience on and Bill's saying Gitter, the SassBook Moog Gitter chat. So I don't know how all these communication automated things happen. I think whatever the case, people should not have the experience of coming into a thing and being recorded without their knowing.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
we did get consent at the beginning today. I think probably the announcement itself, if there's an intention to record, should say we will be recording this. And then that raises the question, if it's going out to Getter also, who owns that message? Yeah.
One of the things to keep in mind is with Hangouts, it says that it's recording. So you jump in, you can see it. But with Jitsi, I don't see anything. I mean, it's almost like one of us needs a little sign or something that says, you know, we're recording or something.
Well, on mine it says like on mine. I don't know if everyone else can see that, but mine says live on the top right.
Right, but does that imply recording?
That doesn't imply recording to me.
Yeah, Bill. So Jitsi, you to get Jitsi to record, you actually need to like come to the start a live stream, and then you can actually pass in a key there. It is actually being recorded. I've done this before. So, but yeah, like I don't know. I'm not saying that I feel strongly that we need to record. I just as an idea if we want to or not, you know.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know if you're interested, but I finally remembered what I was trying to say earlier when I got all tongue-tied. And that is that this formula, n times n minus 1 over 2, is the same formula that gives you the number of edges plus diagonals in a regular polygon. So, for instance, the smallest number of edges in a regular polygon would be 3, a triangle, and a triangle has 3 edges, and if you have 3 people, it's 3 lines of communication. If you have a square or a rectangle is 4 edges plus 2 diagonals, which is 6, and if you have 4 people, it's 6 lines of communication, etc. So that's basically what's and if you draw it, like if you draw a square, for instance, and you can see that you've got a line going from one point to the next, so you've got 4 points and you've got a line going to each one, and then you put an X in the middle so that you have each point is connected to every other point on the square, and you count the lines at 6. So visually you can see what that is.
Okay.
Right. And so, and again, I mean, what I would need to do is like draw up something that I could display.
Okay.
And then you would see what I'm talking about, as opposed to listening to me go blah blah blah.
No, yeah,
but
I'm sorry? Well, I probably could have Googled it but yeah, I would. It would be nice to see a visual. Yeah. And just before a writer leaves, because I don't know, maybe it's a good idea. Maybe it's maybe all of us should wrap it up. No, because it's been, I don't know, it's been 2.5 hours almost. I don't know. No, there's nothing to be sorry about. I think it was really good.
Well, I think my technical problems have really made things way lengthier than they should be. Way lengthier.
Yeah, I don't know how much lengthier, a little bit probably, but that's okay. I mean, it happens, you know. But like, so tomorrow I put an event for tomorrow at the same time. I don't know. Do you guys want to? I don't know if you guys are available tomorrow or. Sorry, Bill, the purpose of the meeting I get bored sometimes and like to hang out with other people. No, like we're meeting for just pair programming purposes in general, and there's no like it's not. Yeah, the title does say collaboration. Yeah, we have talked about building something as well. So this is only the second time that we were meeting, and the first time we were collaborating on doing some code in Codecademy for Ruby. And today, I think we were planning on collaborating on. Well, I had thought about us collaborating on the week 1 homework, but then Rose came up with the idea of actually showing this because she does this with her students before the week 1 homework. So we kind of just let her drive, and then the time went passing, and it got later, I think, than everyone expected. But yeah, the idea is that we're definitely want to collaborate and have a turn with different people driving and coding and offering their expertise and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like I don't know if you're here when we were talking about, but I'm available on Saturdays and Sundays. I like tomorrow I won't be available during the day, so I put the time at the same time tomorrow. But I don't know if it's like for Faith. I think it's maybe a little bit late.
It's late, but fine.
It's okay.
Yeah, at least I'm sure I'll be home then.
Yeah, true. Is anybody keen for tomorrow? I know Peter said he would be around, or do you guys just want to talk on Slack and not give commitments?
I was curious, Faith. You're trying to go through that Codecademy thing. Do you want to set up some times with me and we could go through it together?
Yes.
Would that be helpful at all?
Sure.
Yeah, and then once we get through that, it'd be easier to tackle like the homework 1 and stuff like that. What do you think? So give me some ideas of when would be good.
Okay, I'm sliding into your DM right now.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I said.
I'll
Slack you.
On Slack? Oh, yeah. Okay, great. I'll Slack you too. I'll Slack you too. Great.
Just a question about that then, just as a follow-up, because if you're going to try to meet on that before we move on to the week 1 homework, then do you think it's best if we just cancel tomorrow and try to pick it up from next week? Or do you think you would be able to meet tomorrow and then we can do the homework tomorrow night, or other ideas? Maybe we could do tomorrow. I don't know, Ryder.
I could probably stop by for some part of tomorrow, but I likely can't do the full Monty like today.
Yeah, the 3 hour
session.
Yeah.
Because you've said before that we're not in a rush.
Yeah, it's true. We're definitely not. So, but also as well, like, I mean, I'm keen to go through from the beginning as well. So I don't know if we wanted to meet tomorrow instead of you and Faith, just the 2 of you, if you wanted to meet with more of us, or I don't know, but we could.
Have you done the Codecademy already?
Yeah, I've done it, but you know.
Oh, well, I mean, just because I'm meeting with Faith doesn't mean other people can't join us, right?
Okay, I just didn't know if I was invited or not, Rose.
Oh, you're always invited. It goes without saying, Matt.
That maybe was like Rose only, you know.
I'm the last person to exclude people. All right.
Cool. All right. Well, so I guess we can talk tomorrow, and then yeah, is that a good time for you, Rose? The way it's set up right now, the event for, or do you want to just talk on Slack tomorrow morning?
Yeah, I mean, let's just arrange something on Slack. Whoever wants to do it, we can arrange something on Slack, and I'll try to be as flexible as I can. And probably tomorrow I can. So.
Okay, cool. And hopefully Ryder will be able to stop by and hang out with us for a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, great. Sounds good.
Yeah, great to see everybody. Cheers.
Yeah,
You guys-
thanks for all the advice.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good to meet you.
Okay.
Bill. We'll be around tomorrow.
Yeah, so Slack me. All right, talk to you then. Bye.
All right, bye.